Welcome to Cinema Bites, your go-to for movie recaps in a flash. Big twists, epic moments, all in just minutes. Our movie begins with a student named Flynn, who lives with his mother in a house by themselves. He has never been in a relationship before, and we learn that he is obsessed with studying and university to the point that he keeps studying until he reaches 30 years old. At that time, Flynn is standing inside a fake replica of the Great Pyramid, which is supposed to be in the archaeology college where he studies. Flynn tells his friends about the greatness of Egyptian history and says that the Great Pyramid is considered one of the 7 wonders of the world. It becomes clear that Flynn is becoming obsessed with ancient Egyptian civilization. He leaves the pyramid with his friends and helps them continue building the pyramid. He tells them that a long time ago, the pyramid was supposed to have a differently colored triangle on its top, and the purpose of this triangle was to distribute energy. But over the years, this part disappeared, and the pyramid became all one color. While he is talking to his friends, his professor comes and tells him that he has decided to expel him because he spent his whole life studying history to the point that he almost forgot he has another life he should live. The professor tells him not to come to school again and that he should find a real job to earn money and also look for a beautiful girl to marry so he can start a family because he is already 30 years old. Flynn tries to explain to his professor that he is happy with his current life and loves history very much, but his professor is not interested in what he says and immediately kicks him out. We then see an unknown person watching Flynn from a distance, looking very pleased that Flynn was expelled from school. Flynn returns home very sad because he doesn't know what to do with his life now. As soon as he arrives home, his mother opens the door for him, showing that she loves him very much and also wishes he would settle down and live his life like everyone else. She tells him that she arranged with her friend to have her daughter come and sit with him for a while. Before she can say anything else, the doorbell rings. His mother opens the door and Deborah enters, introducing herself to Flynn. They sit together to talk, and Deborah tells him she is a social worker, is also 30 years old and unmarried, and doesn't want to get married at all. She loves her single life and wants to spend the rest of her life among books, without marrying or anything else. She also tells him that his mother forced her to come today. Flynn is, of course, impressed by her personality and intelligence and that she is almost like him in everything. But he tells her that he also doesn't want to settle down and is very focused on his studies because he is obsessed with Egyptian history and ancient civilization. Deborah tells him that she doesn't want to be with him either, but advises him to settle down soon with a beautiful girl to fulfill his mother's wish. At night, Flynn is in his room studying to learn more about Egypt's great history, but he gets very tired from studying, so he sits on the floor to rest a little. At that moment, a pile of books falls from his bookshelf, and by coincidence, he finds among them an invitation for a job interview at the public library. Flynn decides to go the next day to apply for the job, as it is almost his only chance to learn and earn money at the same time. The next day, Flynn goes to the public library and is amazed by its beauty because it is very large. There are more than 1,001 people applying for the same job. Flynn stands in line until it's his turn, but before he enters the interview, he gets scared and nervous and doesn't want to go in. He thinks about going home and lying to his mother, telling her he failed the interview, but before he moves, the employee responsible for the interview calls him. We learn her name is Charlene. Flynn starts the interview, and Charlene asks him why he wants the job. Flynn tells her he knows a lot about Egyptian history, as well as European history and ancient civilizations in general, and has great experience dealing with books and recommending good ones to read. Charlene tells him the job will be very difficult and that they need someone with skills no one else has. Flynn tells her he notices details no one else sees and starts telling her about scars on her face, and is so good that he can even guess when she got them. At that moment, Judson appears out of nowhere. He is the head of the public library and the same mysterious person who was watching Flynn before. Judson tells Flynn that he has been accepted for the job and that he has been watching him for a long time and is sure he is the only one who can do the job. Judson gives Flynn a tour around the library to show him exactly what his job will be. He tells him he won't be an ordinary librarian, but will be responsible for secrets and artifacts that no one in the world even knows still exist. Judson shows him artifacts from ancient civilizations, and Flynn is to be responsible for protecting them from theft. Among these artifacts is a legendary sword kept in a huge stone, and to remove the sword, one must be a great warrior. He then sees an ancient box, and as soon as he opens it, he finds inside it a very evil spirit from the other world. Judson tells him never to open this box again because the last time it was opened, it caused evil spirits to rule the earth for 1,000 years. Judson then tells Flynn to go quickly to tell his mother everything, and at that moment, the legendary sword comes out of its place by itself, flies in the air, and lands on Flynn's neck. Judson tells him that everything he saw in the library must remain a secret, and he cannot tell anyone or he will lose his life. Flynn promises not to tell anyone and then quickly leaves the library and goes home. At night, we see a treasure thief named Edward break into the library with his gang because he wants to steal the legendary spear that has been there for thousands of years. They attack Judson and the guards, knocking them unconscious. The next day, Flynn and Charlene arrive at the library and are shocked to see Judson lying on the ground. When Judson wakes up, he checks the surveillance cameras and finds out that Edward is the one who stole the spear from the library. He decides to send Flynn on a mission to retrieve the spear, but secretly. He tells him that the spear consists of 3 parts, and only one part was stolen from the library, while no one knows anything about the other 2 parts. Flynn's mission now is to find these 2 parts, so he travels to another city to begin his quest to search for the spear. On the plane, he sees a very beautiful girl in front of him, so he tries to get to know her, but she refuses. After a while, a mysterious person attacks him, and Flynn notices a snake-shaped tattoo on his hand, which is supposed to be the distinctive tattoo of Edward's gang. Before the mysterious person hits him, a girl named Nicole appears and defeats the whole gang by herself, managing to save Flynn from them. The 2 of them then jump out of the plane while it is in the air, landing in a very unknown place in the forest. Nicole introduces herself to him and tells him that Judson sent her to look after him, and that he must use his intelligence to find the rest of the spear pieces, and she will be responsible for taking care of him. Flynn climbs to the top of a tree in the forest and, using his intelligence, manages to figure out where they are. He and Nicole keep walking in the forest to find any place to rest that is close to the location of the second piece of the spear. On their way, they see a huge bridge over the water. The bridge looks weak and about to collapse if they walk on it, but they have no other choice, so they are forced to cross it. In the middle of the bridge, the wood breaks under Flynn, and he is about to fall into the water, but Nicole manages to save him at the last moment. They continue on their way until they reach a very remote place in the forest and decide to rest there for a while. While they are talking, it becomes clear that Flynn is starting to like her, so he gets up to walk alone in the forest. He is shocked when he sees the gang's distinctive tattoo on the ground, so he rushes back to her and asks her to put out the fire. They sit in the dark until members of a Bedouin tribe appear and take them to the tribe's chief. There, Flynn uses his intelligence and manages to figure out the language they are speaking, which impresses the tribe chief greatly. He decides to let them rest in his tribe. The next day, Nicole wakes up and is very surprised that Flynn is not beside her. She quickly leaves the hut to look for him and finds him playing with the tribe's children. She starts to like him a lot and her heart softens. While she is watching him, the gang arrives at the tribe, so she and Flynn run quickly and keep running through the forest until they reach the edge of a mountain. They both jump from the edge and fall into the river, which they must cross to enter the temple. Flynn uses his puzzle-solving skills and manages to figure out the password to open the temple gate. Suddenly, the gate opens beneath their feet, and they both fall to the ground inside the temple, finding themselves in a secret room. There is a moving wall getting closer to them from behind, and in front of them is a pit full of sharp spikes, which will obviously kill them if they fall in. Again, Flynn uses his intelligence and puzzle-solving skills to find a solution. He asks Nicole to hold his hand, and they both jump into the pit. Flynn discovers there is a layer of glass above the spikes, and that the puzzle was actually a trick. Flynn easily crosses to the other side and sees the second part of the spear, and is very happy because he is doing something new for the first time in his life. After leaving the temple, he and Nicole suddenly see the gang in front of them. The gang members threaten them with their guns, and one of the gang members, named Lana, takes the second part of the spear from Flynn and tells him she has been watching him for a long time and is also impressed by his intelligence. They all return to the gang's camp. When they arrive, Nicole is shocked to find out that Edward is the gang leader because he used to be a librarian but lost his life in one of his missions while trying to recover a stolen archaeological treasure. Edward tells her he didn't lose his life, but just faked his death to escape and start a new gang. Nicole gets angry with him and wants to finish him off, but Edward's guards stop her. Edward decides to threaten her with his gun, but Flynn asks him to let her live in exchange for helping him find the third piece of the spear. Edward agrees to the deal and warns that if Flynn is lying, he will kill both him and Nicole. They all board Edward's private plane and arrive at the ice mountain in Europe. There, Flynn follows the clues to reach the new temple, but on the way he slips on the ice and almost dies, but Nicole saves him at the last moment. After a few hours of walking in the snow, Edward gets angry with him and tells him to hurry up until they finally see the temple in front of them, where the third piece of the spear is located. They all rush to the temple where the temple guards are waiting for them, as a picture shows that the librarian is the only one who can solve the puzzle of the third piece. They all enter the temple and see a huge ancient statue with the third piece of the spear inside it. Flynn uses his intelligence, solves the puzzle, and manages to take the third piece of the spear. Nicole takes the third piece and decides to escape quickly with Flynn, leaving the temple guards and the gang to fight each other. She and Flynn travel to another city to rest. The next day, Flynn wakes up and is shocked because Nicole and the spear are gone. He calls Judson and tells him everything that happened, and also tells him that Edward now has the 3 pieces of the spear, and to combine them and gain tremendous magical power, he must be inside the Great Pyramid. Of course, he won't travel to Egypt, so at night, he and Judson go to the college. When they arrive, they see Edward with the spear and Nicole about to kill her. Edward, Nicole, Lena, and his guard enter to perform the magical rituals and combine the spear. He succeeds and feels great magical power. He tests his power by stabbing his guard with the spear, causing the guard's soul to leave his body and enter Edward's, making the guard disappear. It's time to finish off Nicole, but Flynn attacks him, knocks him to the ground, and escapes with Nicole from the pyramid. Outside, they find the gang members waiting for them, so Flynn decides to leave Judson to fight them. Nicole goes to fight Lana, and Flynn re-enters the pyramid to take the spear from Edward. After a long battle between Judson and the guards, Judson easily defeats them, and Nicole also manages to defeat Lana and knocks her unconscious. She told her that she hated her a lot because they were both interested in Flynn. Then, inside the pyramid, after a huge battle between Flynn and Edward, and since he was the one who built the servant statue for the pyramid, he manages to make Edward crash into the pyramid walls until he knocks the statue at the top of the pyramid onto his head. Flynn is finally able to get rid of Edward, takes the spear from him, and then goes back to work at the library. There, Charlene is impressed by his intelligence because he managed to retrieve the entire spear again, so she decides to hang his picture among the other guardians of the library who are supposed to have lived and protected these artifacts for hundreds of years. 3 months later, Flynn is sitting with his mother in a city cafe, telling her about Nicole and saying that he likes her very much. His mother gets upset with him because she hasn't seen Nicole even once, and she asks him to look at any other girl in the cafe and marry her. Before she can finish her sentence, Nicole appears on her motorcycle, introduces herself to Flynn's mother, and tells Flynn that she's here for a new mission, and that there is a very dangerous gang called the Scorpions on their way to finish them off. Flynn has to say goodbye to his mother to start his new mission, gets on the motorcycle behind Nicole, and they drive off. The story ends here. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. If you did, make sure to subscribe for more awesome content. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch